Sometimes the people who betray you the most are the ones you call family. Imagine being uninvited from your own family's Thanksgiving dinner, not because of something you did, but because a stranger in the family decided you didn't belong. Now imagine staying silent, accepting the humiliation, and walking away without saying a single word. But the next morning, that same man shows up at your office. And the moment he sees you sitting behind the desk, his face turns pale. Because the woman he pushed out of the family dinner is the last person he ever wanted to meet again. And in that moment, he realizes something terrifying. He didn't just insult his wife's sister. He tried to silence the woman investigating his entire company. And what happens next is pure karma. Family traditions meant everything to Olivia. Every year, Thanksgiving was the one time when everyone in the family gathered under the same roof. Her parents hosted dinner. Her sister brought dessert. Her cousins filled the house with laughter. And Olivia usually arrived with 2 bottles of wine and a sarcastic comment about how chaotic the kitchen always looked. For years, it had been their tradition. Until this year. This year, everything changed. Because Olivia's sister Emma had recently married someone new. His name was Daniel. And from the very beginning, Olivia had a strange feeling about him. Daniel was charming in front of the family. He smiled. He told jokes. He complimented everyone. But whenever Olivia spoke, he seemed uncomfortable. At first she ignored it. Maybe he was just shy. Maybe he didn't know her well enough yet. But over time, his attitude became more obvious. Whenever Olivia asked questions about his job, he quickly changed the subject. Whenever she mentioned work, he looked nervous. And that was interesting, because Olivia worked in corporate investigations. Her job was simple. When companies were suspected of fraud, corruption, or illegal financial activity, her team investigated them. It wasn't a job that made people comfortable. And Daniel seemed especially uncomfortable around her. But Olivia didn't think much about it. Until 3 days before Thanksgiving. Her phone rang while she was finishing paperwork at home. It was her sister Emma. "Hey," Emma said, sounding hesitant. "Hey, what's up?" Olivia replied. There was a pause. A long pause. Then Emma said something Olivia never expected to hear. "About Thanksgiving dinner, there's been a small change." Olivia laughed. "What kind of change?" Another pause. Then Emma spoke quietly. "Daniel thinks it might be better if you don't come this year." For a moment, Olivia thought she had misheard. "Wait, what?" Emma sounded uncomfortable. "He just thinks you two don't get along very well." Olivia felt a strange mixture of confusion and anger. "So, because your husband feels uncomfortable, I'm not invited to our own family dinner?" Emma quickly replied. "It's not like that. He just thinks the atmosphere will be better." Olivia couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her own sister was asking her not to attend Thanksgiving, because of a man who had joined the family a few months ago. She expected her parents to step in. To say this was ridiculous. To tell Daniel he had no right to exclude someone from the family. But apparently, they didn't. Emma continued quietly. "Mom and Dad think it's better if we avoid tension this year." That sentence hurt more than anything. Not just Daniel. Her entire family had agreed. Olivia took a deep breath. She could have argued. She could have fought back. But instead, she said something unexpected. "Okay." Emma sounded surprised. "You're not upset?" Olivia forced a small smile. "No. If that's what everyone wants, it's fine." They ended the call a few minutes later. But after hanging up, Olivia sat in silence for a long time. She wasn't crying. She wasn't yelling. She was just thinking. Because something about Daniel's behavior suddenly made sense. The way he avoided her questions. The way he seemed nervous around her job. It felt like he was hiding something. But Olivia pushed the thought away. Thanksgiving arrived. Instead of sitting at the family table, Olivia ordered takeout and watched a movie. She ignored the photos her cousins posted online. The smiling faces. The turkey dinner. The family gathering she wasn't allowed to attend. But the story didn't end there. Because the very next morning, something unexpected happened. Something that would turn the entire situation upside down. Friday morning started like any other workday. Olivia arrived at the office early. Her company handled investigations for corporate fraud cases. Most of the time, the people they investigated had no idea an investigation was happening. Until it was too late. Around 9:30 a.m., Olivia's assistant knocked on her door. "There's someone here asking to speak with you." Olivia looked up. "Who?" "He says his name is Daniel Carter." Olivia froze. That name sounded very familiar. But it couldn't be the same person. Could it? "Send him in," she said calmly. A few seconds later, the office door opened. And the moment Daniel stepped inside, his entire face changed. At first he looked confident. Like a businessman arriving for an ordinary meeting. Then he looked at Olivia. Really looked at her. And suddenly, all the color drained from his face. "Olivia," he said quietly. Olivia leaned back in her chair. "Well, this is awkward." The room fell silent. Daniel looked like he had just seen a ghost. "What are you doing here?" he asked. Olivia raised an eyebrow. "I work here." Daniel swallowed. "But, this company, they're investigating." He stopped talking. Because in that moment, he realized something. Olivia wasn't just working at this company. She was the lead investigator. And the company being investigated was his. For weeks, Olivia's team had been examining financial documents from Daniel's corporation. There were signs of serious fraud. Millions of dollars missing. Illegal transfers. Suspicious contracts. And now, the CEO of that company had just walked into her office. The same man who convinced her family to exclude her from Thanksgiving. Daniel's voice was shaking now. "You're investigating us?" Olivia nodded slowly. "Yes." Daniel looked completely panicked. "Emma didn't tell me." Olivia laughed quietly. "You mean you didn't realize the woman you asked to remove from family dinner was the same person investigating your company?" Daniel didn't respond. Because the truth was obvious. He had tried to keep Olivia away from the family, because he was afraid she might learn something about him. And now, it was too late. Olivia opened a file on her desk. "Daniel, since you're here, we should talk about the missing $3 million. Daniel's hands were shaking. "This is a misunderstanding." Olivia leaned forward slightly. "Is it?" She slid several documents across the table. Bank transfers. Fake contracts. Offshore accounts. Every piece of evidence they had collected. Daniel stared at the papers, realizing his situation was far worse than he imagined. Because the woman he tried to silence was the person holding the proof of his entire scheme. And at that moment, Daniel understood something terrifying. This wasn't just a family conflict anymore. It was a criminal investigation. And he had just walked straight into the office of the person leading it. Karma had arrived faster than he expected. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes you don't need to argue, fight, or prove anything. Sometimes the truth reveals itself, at exactly the right moment. Daniel tried to remove Olivia from the family. But instead, he walked directly into the consequences of his own actions. Because the woman he pushed away from Thanksgiving dinner was the one person who could expose everything he was hiding. And in the end, karma always finds its way. If you enjoy powerful revenge stories, family betrayal stories, and Reddit-style drama, don't forget to subscribe to StoryX Daily for more emotional and shocking stories uploaded every day. And remember, the people who underestimate you the most are often the ones who regret it the most later.